Breeders' Cup 2025 Future Stars Friday. It's our weekly update. We do this every Saturday. We get you up to date on the juvenile and the juvenile contenders for the Breeders' Cup. Of course, we've already got 4 editions of the Future Stars Friday up. You can make sure to watch those on the channel. This week we're going to take a look at the Ellis Park Juvenile, the Ellis Debutante, the Best Pal Stakes from Del Mar, and the Sorrento Stakes, a couple of impressive winners. We're also going to take a look at a couple of maiden winners, Bottle of Rouge and Carmel Coast, a winner at Saratoga. We'll get you up to date on some of the contenders for the next round of stakes races and take a look at the win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. Of course, our juvenile updates brought to you by RaceOracle.AI. Make sure to check out their website to learn more about their offerings. Now, Ellis Park was the place to be, the P-Patch. Let's start it off with the juvenile this past weekend. It was Comport, who was a big favorite, ended up paying $270, got a good trip, was on the outside of the other contender, pulled away late. You know, he looks overall like a sprinter. Now he's by Collected, who ran in the money in the Breeders' Cup Classic a few years ago, was a solid middle distance runner. Tyler Gaffleone rode Comport to the big victory. And of course, Comport by Collected, 3 starts, 2 wins, and we'll see if he goes to Churchill for possibly the Iroquois Stakes or waits to Kentucky for Keeneland to see if they want to stretch him out in the Breeders' Futurity, but it looks like they definitely want to stretch him out in his next start for Comport. Now, Ellis Park also had the Debutante, big stakes day of racing, Chopsticks, making her second career start. She was the favorite for trainer Brad Cox, got a good trip. She's the gray, she broke well, kind of eased off the speed, went out for the drive, was really in a long drive all the way from the 8th mile to the finish line, but Chopsticks prevailed in that one with Florent Giroux. Now, Chopsticks 2 for 2. They definitely want to stretch her out. She is from the first crop of Essential Quality, becomes the first stakes winner. She was the first winner overall for Essential Quality. Brad Cox talked after the race about how he thinks the essential qualities will stretch out.
For sure, more ground. I think that you're going to see the best of them around 2 turns, and she's got a great mind. I think, Florent did a good job of getting a good forward early position that allowed her to, collar the 5 and hold off the 1. But, I think the further the better for most of them.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Joe.
Essential Quality, first crop. He's got the winner, Chopsticks, 2 starts, 2 wins, and it looks like she's on to possibly the Pocahontas or the Alcibiades Stakes opening weekend at Keeneland. We'll come back with more right after this from RaceOracle.AI.
The future of horse racing is here, and it's powered by AI. Meet RaceOracle.AI, the first platform built to outsmart the odds with machine intelligence that processes millions of data points and performance variables. Trained on over 600,000 races and learning from every race it sees, the Race Oracle model evolves constantly to give you sharper picks and smarter bets. With real-time Kelly bet calculations and a user-friendly interface, Race Oracle finds the best value in every race. RaceOracle.AI, the edge you've been waiting for.
We go out west. Desert Gate was the big favorite in the Best Pal Stakes, and Desert Gate did not disappoint. The sire is Omaha Beach. The Beyer speed figure is 79. Again, just kind of eased up late. Bob Baffert with 3 impressive juvenile winners now. And of course, last week we profiled Butane. A couple of weeks ago we had Brandt, who has a 101 Beyer, the fastest Beyer of a two-year-old this year. Desert Gate winning the Best Pal Stakes. He gets a 79 Beyer for that one, but was eased up late. Bob Baffert, the trainer, JJ Hernandez, the jockey for Desert Gate. We'll see if he goes to that Del Mar Futurity or if they wait for the American Pharoah. Maybe they want to ship him out of town for the Champagne Stakes, but I think one of the 3 Bafferts will probably be going out of town for his next start. Now, on the fillies side, we saw Sorrento Stakes on Sunday. Bob Baffert picks up a win with that one. It's Hamika, another impressive OBS sale purchase. Hamika winning that one with J.J. Hernandez. And overall, an 81 buyer. And that's a nice buyer. You know, in her debut, Hamika picked up a 90 buyer at 5 furlongs, but a lot of times as they go further distances, again, she was kind of eased up late, an 81 buyer. And we'll see if she turns around for the Del Mar Debutante or if she awaits for the Chandelier Stakes, or again, it could be another option for this one to ship out of town for Hamika. But Hamika by Curlin out of an Into Mischief mare, and that's where we're at now. We're going to start seeing some more of these Into Mischief horses as broodmare sires. Of course, he's gotten a couple of Kentucky Derby winners, including Sovereignty this year. Curlin horses always seem to improve with age and in their 3-year-old season. So lots of options for Hamika, who's now 2 for 2 with $126,000 in career earnings. Couple of maiden winners to highlight over the weekend. We have Bottle of Rouge, an impressive first-time starter at Del Mar. Picked up the win. Bob Baffert, Vino Rosso, Bottle of Rouge, a maiden winner, and we'll see where she goes next. But this one, you know, I like her chances. Vino Rosso won the Breeders' Cup Classic. He developed late. He had a couple of nice runners last year, and overall they seem to be running well at the longer distances. So this is one I think who could maybe improve on the stretch out for Bottle of Rouge. And then Carmel Coast, we go to Saratoga. First time out, a filly, big buyer, 86 buyer. This was kind of a loaded field. There were some other horses being bet in this race. Carmel Coast had worked out impressively. The Clocker reports were strong on Carmel Coast. She did not disappoint, and it looks like they're going to try to stretch her out. Early indications are that they're going to move Carmel Coast right up to the Frazette Stakes, which is a Grade 1 win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies. So Carmel Coast could be going to Belmont at the Big A for the Frazette Stakes for her next start. Big win, first out for Carmel Coast. Now she's by Omaha Beach out of an Arch mare. If you're not familiar with Arch, he was another horse, seems to get horses that develop late. They seem to go a good distance of ground. Omaha Beach, of course, scratched the week of the Kentucky Derby for Richard Mandela, never got to run in the Derby. He had a little bit of a turf pedigree. He's had some versatile runners. We'll see what Carmel Coast does next, stretching out in that Frazette Stakes. The 2-year-old Fig of the Week does go to Comport. Of course, Comport winning that Ellis Park Juvenile. He got 11 plus, and again, looks like he could be going to the Iroquois or the Keeneland Futurity. Of course, Ragazin's Figure of the Week, just want to compare it with some of the other ones. Brant still with that 6. That's the fastest on all the scales for Ragazin, and for the buyer came back a 101. Comport with an 11 plus. Butane the week before had an 11, so we're kind of staying in that range, and that Brant 6 kind of sticks out through 5 weeks of the Ragazin's Fig of the Week. Now, stakes races coming up. We've got the Spinaway on August the 30th, the Hopeful Stakes, at both of those at Saratoga. Then we have the Del Mar Debutante and the Futurity. The Iroquois and the Pocahontas are going to get the stake schedule going at the Churchill September meet. And then, of course, we go to Champagne Frazette. And then we've also got the Alcibiades and the Keeneland Futurity. Now, the Win and You're In, of course, we've got the 5 stakes races for Future Stars Friday. We've got the Juvenile Fillies, the Juvenile Turf, the Juvenile Fillies Sprint. And let's take a look at some of the early horses pointing. For the Juvenile, the Win and Your Ins are the Champagne, the Keeneland Futurity, and the American Pharaoh. For the Juvenile Fillies, we've got the Frazette, the Alcibiades, and the Chandelier Stakes. The Hopeful Stakes, we've got some good contenders lining up. Curtain Call, a fast winner in his second start. Obliteration, second to Ewing, last time out in the Saratoga Special. And then you've got Romeo, Ted Nafi, Tap Its Legacy, and Emphasis, all under consideration. I think one of those 3 will probably go to the Keeneland Futurity for trainer Todd Pletcher. The Iroquois Stakes, Ewing, 2 for 2. He broke his maiden, and then he won the Saratoga Special. Looks like he's going to point for trainer Mark Casse to the Iroquois. You've got the Spinaway Stakes. Impressive first-time out winner Tommy Joe could be seen for that filly. And then we've got the Del Mar Futurity, the 3 Baffert winners, Desert Gate, Brant, and Butane. I think maybe 2 at the most of those winners. 1 will probably ship out. And then we've got some more stakes races coming up. Every Saturday, our Future Stars Friday update. Leave a comment, like, and share this video with other Breeders' Cup fans and horse racing fans. Share on Facebook. And remember, the Breeders' Cup Prospectus, our stats and information coming out for the Breeders' Cup. First week in November, be notified first when that comes up. Sign up below in the description. You'll be on the list and you'll get more information as we get closer. RaceOracle.AI bringing you our updates of our juveniles every Saturday. Make sure to check out their website to learn more. It's Future Stars Friday, Friday of Breeders' Cup weekend. And remember what D. Wayne Lucas always said, people have opinions, horses have the facts.